Thank you, Shobhita, and welcome to this panel, which is aptly titled "Family Businesses: Pillars to the overall growth of India." And all of you are in multi-generational businesses. George, I think you're in the fourth generation, and both of you are in second generation right now. So maybe, Mr. Kabra, I'll start with you. In terms of, there's a lot of innovation that you've brought about in terms of your business in a very eco-friendly way. How has some of those things helped your company evolve, have a global presence in more than 90 countries, and how has some of that really helped you build value in your company over the years?
When we started our Kabel, it was our originally thought that we'll make companies global. It's very tough because I'm talking way back in 2000. That time neither India had a credibility in the global market as a manufacturing product, and this is the most safety product, behind the wall product, then what to do? So then it was determination that we will do this. The reason behind was that when I used to travel a lot globally, and many small countries, they had many brands. Like if you go to Korea, then their brands are like Hyundai, LG, Samsung, they used to be there. And from like Sweden, they were IKEA, a couple of brands are there. But none of the Indian brands were there except the Bajaj. That is a Bajaj two-wheeler or three-wheeler. There are very few companies. So that's what will be a global brand. So that's why right from the keeping the name itself, see, it's a Kabel, not a cable. So nobody calls cable a Kabel. So right from keeping the name, people might be thinking that I'm Kabra, so Kabra Electrical is a KBL, but it's Kabel because we want to do something different. What happened? There is absolutely no background in domestic market or international market. So because the card has to play when I have to give card. So what is this? So generally it's a perception that you got an opportunity to reply someone, and that's how we started. So we got first VD German approval. Then we started from Dubai, it was first benchmark, then Europe. Today our exports is, in 55% exports to Europe. So Europe is the most toughest and most regulated market, so we are doing that business. So and now we are the only company in the world which got 45 international approved single factory. No one there. So it's basically I think so it's a thought process, it's a vision, hardworking. Never thought of making money initially. Of course, now we are looking to make more money. But then establishment was most necessary rather than profit. So that's the whole goal.
And some of these thought processes, when you entered the business, was that something that you brought about some of these thought processes within the family business, or is that something which was always there when you started off?
No, it's from beginning, like say when we started 89, one small company into magnet wire, which is still in that business we are second last in India. In 89, we made a first magnet wire, enamel wire company to be dust free. So innovation is in the DNA. See, it does not come with the one product or one company. So we got multiple, like we are into mechanical car parking. So we are the first company in India to bring this technology. And today, we are the only company which got the highest variants of car parking system in the world. So there is no choice other than technology. Technology and innovation is to be part of your game, part of your strategy, part of your vision. So it is always there. So we believe that safety, like see, we became the first company in Asia in wire, I'm telling you, that first company in Asia to make low smoke, zero erosion wire. Today, it's a need of ours. So in like Europe, you go to most of the country like Ireland, you cannot use PVC wire. It has to be on cable also PVC. India also that is mandatory, but then, as our country, the country is growing. But in terms of quality and safety, it's a lot of compromise there because it's a lot of valuation games are happening in the market. So people want to compromise on quality, they make more profit, create the wealth. So, but wealth we should create, but in the right direction. So we have a lot of advantage and respect. See, ultimate goal is as a company, as a family, that we want to be the most trusted brand, not only India, but globally. So our lot of focus and emphasis is on trust because the journey is shifted from unorganized sector to organized sector. Organized sector to a global company, but the real journey is going to start now, which people need to understand that this is going to be the most trusted brand. You cannot play with people by making fool, by making money, by other way around. But it has to be like, see, why we talk about Tata only? When it comes to trust, we will talk Tata. So it has to be like a trust. If you create a trust, your organizational life will be much more longer rather than you make a shortcut. So that our entire focus is that how can we create a trust, how can we create a global brand. So today we are in 90 countries, but our goal is that in the next 4 or 5 years, we should be at least in 135 countries. So 75% of global presence we want to be.
Interesting. Vivek, maybe from your perspective, you've built Jupiter Wagons now to one of the foremost mobility solutions provider in India. How has your family's traditional business in wagon manufacturing influenced you to modernize in terms of or shape the thought process around it?
Yeah. To start with a small correction, it is a first generation business. So my father was a technocrat. So this business was started by him and me and my younger brother. I studied at Wharton. So, life would have been much simpler if I had stayed back and would have been in investment banking. But then we decided to take this plunge, and it was not a very easy business to enter because manufacturing in India by far is, one of the most difficult. It's like a landmine when you enter that. But fortunately, my father has been he's a technocrat throughout his life. So he understood how to build businesses grounds up because that's what he did. When he started from, from the very bottom, and he was always a shop floor person. So that, taught us a lot. We didn't have the baggage, whole family hierarchy or, sitting out of say earlier, the Lala culture. So it was, from very beginning, the ethos was very clear that hard work and I think innovation, that was key. I think one of the fundamental learnings was that stagnation in any kind of family businesses is fatal. I think a lot of family businesses we have seen, especially in the part of the country I come from, Eastern India, where, people get satisfied very quickly. I think with changing times, India now being part of the global ecosystem, I think you need to innovate. That's what we learned. So even when we started, the wagon business, it was a very traditional business, but we always emphasized from very beginning on technology, on innovation, on quality. We got into partnerships with global players. So in Jupiter, we introduced, one of the leading players in Europe in the rolling stock business. They came in as a partner. Then we got into a lot of innovative products. We got into brake systems. In India, we are, I think, one of the only Indian companies who are competing with the global players there. And we are not only supplying to the Indian market, but to the global market. The railway sector in India is still evolving. So, when it comes to a simple product such as wheel sets, which go into rolling stock, India today is one of the biggest importers of wheel sets. So a lot of times, production processes got stalled because of that. So then we realized that opportunity for us, and then we have invested in that sector. So that technology was not available in India. The basic raw materials were not available. So we went ahead, we forged the partnerships, we bought a lot of international companies which could give us the technology, and that's how we evolved. So it has been a journey, and the journey continues. So now the next step which we are taking is that we are entering into the EV segment. So there, we are about to launch our own electric truck very soon. That again, we have worked with a lot of startups. We have adopted their technologies. Few of the founders have joined me in that business. So it is about constant evolution, I think. That is important, and execution. I think people forget that, execution is as important as, cultivating an idea. And it's just not about idea. I think it's more about execution.
Thanks. It's interesting that you say, the eastern part of the country, typically you've not seen, but if you look at the list, the Hurun's most valuable family business, I think the second biggest city in the list the names come from Kolkata. Which even, I was pleasantly surprised to see. And just a follow-up question in terms of, you mentioned about, having an European partner, and typically families would go with, let's say, having a technology partnership, and, how easy or difficult was it to, let's say, get in a shareholder, into the company, and what were the things that, went through when you all, went through the decision in terms of getting a partner in the company?
For a partner to also come into a family business, especially a big European player, I think it's very important that as a business, structures have to be very robust. We were very clear that we would be professional from day one. When my European partners came in, then we were not listed. The listing happened much later. So, but from the very beginning, our mindset was very clear that it has to be very transparent and very professional. I think that is the key. Talk about, we need to have control or we need to have certain amount of, but they don't realize that the growth is the key. Today you can be, say, a 2,000 crore company, but you you are 100% shareholder. But 10 years down the line, through bringing in partners, you could be, say, a 20,000 crore company, but you could only have 50% of the shareholding. But that 50% is much more relevant than having 100% shareholding. As I mentioned that in today's day and age, innovation is the key. So unless you bring in technology, unless you bring in partnerships, unless you have the ability to learn from the best in the world, so the transformation in Indian businesses would not happen. Because I firmly believe, I think what our Prime Minister says, India today has to build products which are at par with global technologies or the global qualities. The good thing about this country is that we build products which are at par at global technology, but at the least cost. I think that is what, as a country, we bring to the table. And I think that has been something which has, all businesses across the country have evolved.
Thanks. George, moving over to you. Now in the fourth generation of your business, which is, now moved into multiple financial services, how has your, leadership and strategic insights helped shape and grow the business, specifically when it comes to, innovation in the digital space or the CSR space?
So as far as Muthoot Finance is concerned, we are very into niche banking, as you know, primarily in gold loans. So it's one of the most secured lending that you could possibly do. That's why we sleep very well at night. The idea being that with the fourth generation coming into the business, we need to be more digitally savvy in terms of how now when you look at the next generation or Generation Z or Generation Y, when you look at them, the possibility of them taking a gold loan seems very nil at this point of time. But what is quite interesting is that they are also opening their minds about how they could now leverage this asset to meet their financial goals as well. So, but we need to cater that in a very different way by bringing in technology, by bringing in the phygital model as well, by bringing in more conveniences as well. So that's what we're building into the business right now. As the fourth generation, we are completely transforming the business from just a brick and mortar into a digital listing. The other aspect which you mentioned was about CSR, which is something that we actually, as a family, hold very dearly to our hearts. Because today, of course, India is the only country that actually mandates CSR. There's no other country that actually asks for CSR to be compulsorily done. The idea when we say corporate social responsibility, we should actually look at it community social responsibility. Because as far as we are concerned, we actually operate across the length and breadth of this country, but primarily in the rural areas. So for us, we see the economy being developed from there. So when you see the average ticket size of a gold loan or if you do an MFI or something like that, we also see that there are other needs that are not being met through just financial inclusion. So that's when CSR is something that we definitely see as a need of the hour for an overall and a holistic development of communities. Interesting enough, I look after CSR in the company. So it's quite exciting because we don't have a revenue target, we only have a spend target. So everybody else earns, we go spend it out. And we have a target date at which we have to finish. But that's not the point. The point being that the impact that this has is what has been the most gratifying bit for us. Because if we don't see that change on ground, I do not believe that we would be doing justice to what we call CSR. So for that matter alone, we actually involve ourselves in CSR. Every member in the organization becomes part of that. So what we call as ISR, or individual social responsibility as well. So then when we get involved, we make sure that the beneficiary gets the absolute benefit of every single rupee that is being spent on this. And we'd like to do impact studies over a period of time as well to make sure that this actually is creating that kind of change. So.
Yeah, and the innovation and the digitalization of some of the stuff that you all do. How do you see competition from, let's say, new age companies and startups impacting, let's say, your business in that space?
I think that's quite interesting because when you have new age companies like Rupeek or anybody else coming in, it actually pushes us to also innovate as well. So I don't know if you heard about it, but recently we tied up with Google Pay to actually digitize this whole thing and create lead generation. So we're working with a lot of companies right now. So I think this is where I believe the greatest value addition comes from my generation at least, to actually now transform and look at the business very differently. So having multiple platforms, both digitally and physically as well, to make sure that we do that last mile reach. Because when you look at gold loans, generationally, there's a whole change. There was an entire mindset in this country that nobody takes a gold loan because if you're going to be, let's put it this way in a very negative tone, pawning your gold, it looks like you're like scraping the bottom of the barrel. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we were able to change that around. And then today, you look at it more like a lifestyle product when everybody else and everybody wants to take a gold loan because of the convenience that it offers. Just to give you an example, today you have Generation Z or the millennials who are now entering the workforce. Surprisingly enough, a lot of them don't have a credit score, so they cannot get a loan. The easiest way to build a credit score is take a gold loan. And that's how they create their first credit score, and then they're able to be in the system, and they're able to, so it starts with Muthoot Finance and then goes on to bigger banks.
Interesting. Shikhawalji, a question for you. As you've been in the second generation, and then as the businesses pass on to future generations, what's your take in terms of the skills and the mindset that future generations or next gen should be having to make sure that they continue with the growth journey, and how can the current generation support, help grow that or build that mindset with the next generation?
See, for us, our business, and then fortunately we got multiple business. So all the children, they grew.
George, in terms of, you heard Devansh talked about his experience around, succession and the way they went about it. In your case, probably the family has, stayed together and in the, multiple members. Any thoughts in terms of, pros, cons, what's worked really for you all in terms of making sure that, how you continued successfully, so far?
I think the most important thing in any family, I would say the three most important thing is communication, communication, communication. So it's important that family members constantly talk. We discuss not just work, but also our personal issues as well. We have a family board meeting as well, and that happens almost every month. We meet, we discuss not just about the business, but also about the future as well. This has in some ways brought our visions together to make sure that we have one common goal, one common idea about how we see growth to happen. From that perspective, I would say we've been very fortunate as a family to be sticking together. As far as succession planning and the future of the family is concerned, we have multiple organizations that are helping, including Barclays as well, by the way. So with that in mind, whether it's putting up a trust fund or whatever it is, to ensuring that we create, how do I call it, if we were to, how do I say, we create almost a foolproof system where people understand their jobs and roles and also understand what it means to be within the business, what it means to be exiting the business, to making it far more easier as a process so that it's all black and white rather than being very gray and ambiguous. So that actually helps us keep everything in clarity for the entire group. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Vivek, in terms of, when you look at opportunities and growth, how have you really gone about, what are the key enablers that you've seen, help you, maybe once you spot an opportunity to really convert it into, meaningful business and growth?
I think important opportunity, the first thing which I look for is scale. Whether something can be scalable. Because we all have certain bandwidth as an organization, as individuals. Unless there is scale available. And then I think secondly, for us, it's very crucial that the opportunity is within my ecosystem. So it cannot be far from what I'm doing. Opportunity should evolve out of your strengths. So I think it is, if you are into fabrication, we cannot tomorrow decide to, no matter how good opportunity is, I cannot get into chemicals. We firmly believe because that requires a certain different, or a EPC business. That requires a complete different mindset, complete thought process. So it is around that. Then it is around, as I said, around technology. I think today, anything which doesn't have technology or sound engineering cannot have a future. Profits are important, but I think more than profits, it's, as a business, we are very particular that something has to be very sustainable, because I think it's a legacy which then you pass to your next generation. So sustainability is very key. In terms of converting an opportunity, again, it's a lot of hard work which goes into it, a lot of focus, again, getting the right people, the right professionals, because as an entrepreneur, you cannot be hands-on in all businesses. At one point, you need to take back seat, cultivate the idea, but then have professionals take it over, getting the right people. When you bring in technology, you also need to have good partners. So today, have about 4 successful joint ventures, and all the 4 joint ventures are with major global players. I would not say that there is one single mantra to anything. It's an amalgamation of a lot of collective ideas which come, but I think, again, execution, getting in the right partners and getting good professionals who are able to execute your ideas and take it forward, I think that is very crucial.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe just some closing remarks about, how would you say that, what are the values that define each of your family businesses? Maybe, a couple of comments on them from each one of you.
See, family business, like George says, communication is the most key. You can keep communication, and everyone should know what is goal. See, basically, the only suggestions for all family business, keep company on the top and individual is nowhere. So I am recognized not because of Sri Gopal Kabra, I am recognized because of this RR Kabel, RR Global company. So that should be a goal. Otherwise, it's generally problem to running a joint family in the longer time. So you need what? Pride, position, fame, everything. So there is a lot of competition. So better to be in low profile. Don't create a family member to be to very high profile. And then only one person can be a face of the company. It cannot be. If you want to really create a sustainable model, it has to be one member to be known in the public face and rest the work. That will work.
Well, I don't know what to add to all of that. I can just say that when it comes to a family business, or any business for that matter, I always say never ever. It's not your profit line that matters. It's not your top line that matters. Actually, what matters is if you've been able to uphold the values, and that is the most important thing. So trust is what, for us, one of the biggest. So when you look at our business, we've actually put our greatest asset on the name, which is our name. And I think that makes a huge impact on how we see the business progressing forward. As far as what Vivek was saying as well, just to add on to that, he said about professionalizing. My only mantra, at least my personal mantra, I put it down into my management philosophy, I put it down in 2 words. It's called planned redundancy. So every day I'm planning how can I make myself redundant in the role that I'm playing today so that somebody else can do it better than me. So that's the way I look at it.
Great. Any closing comments from you, Vivek?
Again, George and Kabraji have summed it up. I think in family businesses, communication is the key. I firmly believe in it, and it has to grow around shared values. So communication with shared value is, and you need to professionalize it more and more, because those earlier days have gone where it's automatic that the next generation takes it over. I think it's important that they have to earn it. And that's where whether a professional is good enough or the next generation have the skill sets or the mindset to take it over, I think it is for them to prove it. If you can professionalize a company and grow it in with that mindset, I think keep on underlying. You have to innovate. You cannot stagnate. You have to take risk. I think that is the key to growth. Without risk appetite today, I don't think companies or families can survive multiple generations. Yeah, by risk, the risk has to be a very thought of risk. It's not that what I mean to say that you cannot be a cowboy and just go on and, so it has to be very planned, but planned risk-taking ability with innovation, I think it's very important. And before profit, sustainability is more important.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights on this panel, and a round of applause to the panelists for sharing their thoughts. And